Okay. Hi, ladies. I was going to do a video with Concha. We just finished our practice, our session, but unfortunately my internet is a little bit slow, and so I was unable to do that. But so I'm doing a separate video now for Andrea and for Joe, who weren't able to make it today, which is obviously because Andrea has a big time difference. She's in the middle of the night in New Zealand. But this is for you ladies to catch up on your own for this week. So this week we are focused on Dinacharya, which has to do with our lifestyle choices. So in Ayurveda, which is the sister science of yoga, our bodies are known to be made up of the elements. So the belief is that we're made up of, air, water, ether, fire, and earth. And so this week we're focusing on emphasizing our daily routine and how it's integrated with nature. So the assignment for this week is to make sure that we're spending at least 20 minutes in the sun. I'm sure that won't be a problem for you, Joe, in Belize, and for Andrea, it's the end of the summer in New Zealand. So hopefully you guys have some sunny days there. So we want to make sure that we're getting at least 20 minutes of sunlight per day. So just making sure this week you're out in the sun, getting that vitamin D. And this is because, as you all know, this program is focused on, mental health and COVID. And there have been a lot of studies that have shown that vitamin D is incredibly helpful in recuperating from COVID or any respiratory illness. And also it is quite important for our mental health. As you know, with the SAD, the seasonal affective disorder, during the winters, it can make us more depressed. And that can be because we're not getting enough natural light or sunlight. So this week, I just want you ladies to go outside each day in the sun. And even if it's overcast or raining, you'll still be getting some UV rays. And just, you can integrate this into other practices. If you want to do your asana outdoors, or if you want to do your pranayama outdoors and being in the sun at the same time, that's fine. If you're doing gardening and you're out there as well. Which brings us to our next Dinacharya that we're going to look at is spending daily time in nature. So making sure that each day this week you're going outside for a portion of the day. It doesn't have to be for long, like I said, but just making sure that you're having daily time outdoors. So that can be going to the beach, going out onto the farm for Andrea, or out into your garden, or going for a walk in the forest, and making sure that you're scheduling time each day for outdoor activity, a hike, whatever fits into your lifestyle. So the sunbathing can be combined with your time outdoors, obviously, but just making sure that that's part of your daily routine. It's getting outdoors, it seems so basic, but a lot of times, not so much with you ladies because you live in more outdoor focused countries, but in the States, a lot of people aren't getting outdoors. And so it's just making sure that we're really mindful and cognizant of having that time in nature. And then the last thing we want to look at this week is your sleep patterns. And both of you ladies, myself as well, we have nightly wakings around 2 or 3 in the morning. A lot of that can be because we're menopausal or premenopausal, and it has to do with hormones. But sometimes it can also do with sleep patterns. So what I want you ladies to do this week is to make sure that you're getting between 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. And the other thing is to avoid your phone, your TV, or your computer at least an hour, preferably a few hours, say in the evening time, avoiding it before sleep. And I know it's hard if you're used to that in your routine, going on your phone or watching a movie, but just try it. Try it for part of the week or the whole week if you can. And this has to do with reducing the consumption of that artificial light. So in yoga, there's a lot of emphasis in Ayurveda as well on those natural cycles. those circadian rhythms. So ideally, and it's hard in modern life, but ideally we want to go with the rhythms of the day. So you go to bed when it gets dark and you wake up when it gets light. It's easier. Obviously, it was probably easier back in the day when they didn't, you didn't have the artificial lights, but like when you're camping or something, you find that you fall into those natural rhythms quite easily. But in modern times, it's harder. And so it's really kind of getting back to those natural circadian rhythms. And so that's a way that we can do it by minimizing that blue light, which affects our sleep a few hours before bed, or at least an hour if you can before bed, and making sure you're getting sufficient sleep and making any observations and seeing how you feel. So again, those are those three things. So your sunbathing, vitamin D, daily time in nature, and your sleep habits, your sleep patterns. So just reduce mindful consumption, reducing that artificial light an hour before bed. Now, we'll just go through. Now, when I talked with Concha, she had been practicing the asana for that week. It's not restricted to just those postures. So the idea is you may have other postures that you like to do in your daily routine. So you just kind of integrate them into it. Or you might have particular postures that you want to do along with those, depending on how your body feels. So the idea is with everyone to really kind of integrate some asana practice and these other aspects of yoga. The Dinacharya is your daily routine, the pranayama is your breathing, into what fits for your lifestyle and what fits for your schedule and your time. Concha, I'm sorry, the other participant, Concha, she has a family and she has responsibilities with young children, including a baby, a newborn. So she has less control over, the amount of time she can dedicate to practice. It depends on other demands. As with you ladies, you're both busy. And so don't feel you have to carve out an hour of time to do yoga. That's hard for a lot of people. But if you can carve out smaller bits of time throughout the day to do these practices, it's actually quite beneficial. And one of my teachers, Ganesh Mohan, the yoga therapy, actually, he suggested, and Barbara in New Zealand, in yoga therapy, has suggested not doing a huge long practice all at once, but rather integrating it throughout the day. Maybe doing one or two postures if you can fit it in, but then also integrating those other components of yoga. So we're not just focusing on the physical, the asana, but we're doing the breathing. We're being mindful of our daily routine, our daily practices, and we're also, doing a bit of meditation, as well. Okay, so what we'll do now, hopefully I have time before my partner comes back with the children, is we're just going to do a brief practice and just reviewing what we learned. And this is just a way to show you ladies that how we can integrate short practices into the day without having to do a huge long routine, and how those can be quite beneficial as well, whether you're at the office or at home. So what we'll do is we'll just come to a gentle, cross-legged seated position. Just do a few shoulder rolls with the breath, backwards, forwards. Shrugs, so shrugging up, releasing up. And then we'll just gently stretch the neck. So inhale, lengthen up through the spine. You can close your eyes or lower your gaze, bringing the right ear to the right shoulder, taking a breath or two here. And then inhale, coming up to center. Exhale, opposite side. Inhale, back to center. Inhale, exhale, chin to chest. Take a breath. Inhale, back up to center. Exhale, chin up, chin up. Take a breath. Exhale, back to center. And we're just going to swing our hips and legs around to come into tabletop pose. Sorry, limited for space. And we'll just mobilize the spine a bit. Now try not to hinge just from one section of the spine. Rather, try to be real conscious of the movement in the spine and do it vertebrae by vertebrae. So we're going to inhale, look up, lift the chest, and trying to do it like a wave. And then exhale, gently tuck in the lower of the, tuck in the tailbone like a wave again. The lower part, and then the mid part, and then chin to chest. So inhale, coming out of it slowly. And then exhale, chin to chest, opposite way. And try not to rush to it. You don't want to just be going, but rather bringing that conscious slow movement. And you can even try to do the breath the opposite way. And see how it feels. So for example, it's hard for me because I'm so used to doing it one way, but it's always good to switch it up. So for example, exhaling, looking up, inhaling, looking down. Tucking the tummy in, tailbone in, and back to center. Then we'll just push up into downward dog. And coming back a little bit. So in tabletop, take a breath. On the exhale, toes under, lifting the hips, lowering the heels. You can walk the legs a little bit, bending the knees. And we'll just stay here for a few breaths, getting that traction in the spine. And then we're just going to gently walk our feet up to our hands. Bring the feet apart, hips width. Take the hands to the floor, have a little bend in the knees. Drop the head, release the neck. Take a few breaths here. Forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Doing a bit of ujjayi if you want, which is that slight constriction of the neck. So you feel the breath, it's almost like an ocean wave. Helps us to focus a bit. And then starting to bend those knees on the inhale, lifting up, bringing the hands together into chair. Take a breath or two here. Lowering the shoulders. And then we're just going to gently twist to one side. Say maybe 3 breaths on one side. Just getting a little twist in there. And then gently come to the other side. So bringing that opposite elbow to the opposite knee. Twisting the head, relaxing the neck. Few breaths here. Coming back to center and then lowering the hips down. Lengthening the spine, bringing the arms out in front. Might be a bit of a wobble in the knees, strengthening those legs. Inhale up and back down. Okay. And so just standing in mountain pose, and this is just to be cognizant of our posture. So just starting at the outside of the feet, lifting the feet, and slowly lowering each toe till we get to the big toe, making sure that the arches are upright. Feeling the groundedness of the floor, lifting the legs, the muscles of the legs, tightening the thighs. Feeling the strength of the abdomen, the core, shoulder blades back and down, palms out to the sides open, relax the shoulders, lengthen the spine, align the head with the neck and the rest of the body. Close your eyes, take a few breaths in mountain pose, Tadasana. This is a basic pose, but it's really important because it's our foundation for good posture. You can even just practice this pose outdoors and find that grounding, that connection with the earth. And then we'll just do a brief balancing posture. We'll do tree pose. So bring your hands to your hips and we'll bring the heel to the ankle and then slowly bring it up. You don't want to have it on the outside of the knee because that puts a bit of tension on the knee. So you can either have it on your calf. If you can use your hand and bring it all the way up to the thigh, the inner thigh. Keeping that knee out. And then bringing the hands up over your head into prayer pose over your head. Take a few breaths here. Find your gazing point or your drishti. And slowly lowering the hands over the legs. Do the opposite side. So taking a moment, ground yourself through the opposite leg, right leg or the left, to the other side. And then just bringing your ear to your ankle, either going up to the calf, and you can always hold on to a wall or something if you need a bit more support. And then just where you can grab the ankle, bring the foot further up to the inside of that inner thigh, the right thigh. And your drishti or gazing point. Bring your hands together in prayer pose at the heart. Take a breath. And if you can, bring your arms overhead, stretching high. You may wiggle and wobble a bit like a tree. Staying strong, rooted. Have your point to focus on to help your balance. And slowly lowering the arms and lowering the leg. Okay. And now we'll just come into a little bit of a squat. So I have to put my toes out. You may not, if you have more flexibility in your hamstrings, but just bringing the toes out, slowly squatting down, coming down to the floor into your squat. Now your heels may come off the floor if you're a bit tight, which is fine. Bring those elbows to the knees and come into prayer into a low squat. A few breaths here. Opening the hips. Bringing the hands down to the floor and then gently walking back into tabletop here. And then you can bring your chin and chest down just like we did last week, down to the floor, lowering down to the floor, your hands beneath your shoulders. Turning your head to one side. And we're going to do bow pose. So taking one foot to the buttocks and grabbing your ankle, not the foot. Taking the other foot, grabbing the ankle. Take a breath or two here. This might be enough of a stretch for you. So take a few breaths here. And then if you can, lift the chin, lift the chest, push the legs away from the buttocks. And just feel the breath. It may rock you. If you feel any tension in the lower back, release. Slowly bring the legs down. Release each foot. Releasing all the muscles. Bringing the hands under the shoulders, fingers wide. And then just pushing up into a gentle cobra, halfway. Try to keep the neck aligned with the spine, lengthening the back of the neck and the spine. Strengthening the core, muscles of the back. And then slowly lowering on the exhale back towards the floor. And then we're just going to roll onto our backs and do a few dynamic bridge pose, a few of our dynamic bridge pose that we learned last week. And this is just a quick review and just showing how we can do quick integrated practice. So coming onto our backs, bringing our heels into the buttocks, knees staying together, don't let them sway. They're sway out to the sides. You all can probably see me better from the side, sorry. And then just, again, bringing the heels in. Doing a few dynamic bridges, so lifting the arms, lifting the hips at the same time on the inhale. And then exhale, coming down. We're just going to do a few. We're not doing a whole extended practice. Maybe 2. And don't feel like you have to go all the way up at one time. You can do it slowly, lifting little by little, more and more each time. 1 more. And then we're going to hold this one. So bring our arms down, interlace our fingers, roll the shoulders under, lift the hips, and take a few breaths here. Pushing the arms to further, to move further into the back bend. And then slowly lowering down. Bring the knees into the chest. Gently roll from side to side. And then we're not against a wall, but we're doing something similar. So just bring your hands behind your thighs. You can interlace them behind you and just lift the feet up. Let that circulation kind of come down. You can do some ankle rotations to each side. And you can take the toes and just increase the space between the toes and stretch those feet. Stretch the feet. And just gently sitting for a breath or two. Anybody think had any legs? It's kind of like legs up the wall. Slowly lowering the legs down. We'll just do a brief shavasana relaxation. So just bringing the legs out, letting the feet come out to the side, sway out to the sides, palms facing upright, a bit of space between your arms and your torso. Shoulder blades down. Just take a few breaths here, feeling the support of the earth. Close your eyes, bring your attention inwards. Feeling the prana, the breath move freely through the body. Relaxing the feet, toes. Bring your attention to the ankles, front of the legs, the back of the legs. Breathing into the lower belly. Releasing the lower lumbar spine. Releasing the upper back. Breathing into the upper chest, getting an expansion of the ribs. Feeling the shoulders supported. Backs of the arms, front of the arms, back of the hand, front of the hand. And finally, releasing the back of the neck, throat, letting the tongue fall back in the mouth, releasing the muscles of the face, around the eyes, the forehead. Just taking a few breaths here. Not forcing the breath, just gently observing. Slowly wiggling the fingers and the toes, deepening the breath. And then when you're ready, ladies, come onto the right side and take a breath or two here. And then slowly coming back up into a seated position. You can do easy pose. If it's hard on the hips or the knees, you can always come on to, seated onto your knees and put a pillow between your buttocks and your legs, sitting like this. But any position where your spine is upright, is fine. And then we're just going to end with a gentle, relaxation, focusing on the lower abdomen and making sure that we're doing that belly breath and extending the exhale. So you can bring your hands to your knees in a mudra. I tend to like this mudra, so my finger and my thumb are connected. If you want to feel more grounded, you can put your palms down. If you feel quite grounded, you can bring your palms up. And then just gently closing the eyes or lowering the gaze. Just start by observing the breath. Don't control it, just observe it. Just notice it. And then just gently bring your attention to your lower abdomen, your lower belly, breathing into it like a balloon. Inhaling, expanding, exhaling, contracting. And after a few breaths, we're going to start to try to extend the exhale. Just coming back to your count, what feels comfortable for you. So inhale, exhale, extending. Notice the pause between the inhale and the exhale. Nice, deep, slow, rhythmic breathing. Relaxing the shoulders. And then we'll just end with 2 rounds of Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breathing. So again, just using your thumb and your ring finger, closing the right nostril, inhaling through the left. And then closing the left, exhaling through the right. You might need a tissue if you're a little stuffed up. Inhaling through the right, same one. And then closing the right, exhaling through the left. That's 1 round. Inhale through the left again. Closing the left, exhale through the right. Inhaling through the right, same one. Closing the right, exhaling through the left. That's 2 rounds. And then we'll just do 3 rounds of Brahmari, the humming breath. Taking your forefingers, closing your pointer fingers, closing the little, flat by your ears. Inhale, upright, inhale, and exhale, hum. We'll do it 3 times. Mm. 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 Now, when you do that, do it in your own time. Don't feel like you have to do it as long as I do it. And just pay attention to where you feel the vibration in your body. And then we're just going to bring our hands down to our legs. You can do a mudra if you'd like. Close your eyes and just notice the effects of the practice. And gently bring your attention inwards. Just focus on how you're feeling. And just noticing and observing non-judgmentally. Sure you're keeping your spine upright. When you're ready, slowly opening the eyes. And thank you, ladies, for joining me in this recording. So again, this week we're going to focus on the Dinacharya, so the lifestyle choices in our daily routine. So we want to make sure that we are getting sufficient vitamin D each day, that we're getting our daily time outdoors. So whether that's a hike or bird watching, Joe, I know you like that, or Andrea working on the farm or in the garden. I'm sure that's not a problem for you ladies because you're outdoors anyway, but just making sure this week that we're doing it. And then the mindful consumption, the sleep patterns. So making sure we're getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep and not being exposed to the screens or the artificial light at least an hour before bed. A few hours is better, but if you can at least do an hour. And then just noticing your observations and just letting me know in the video or through email, when we chat next week. And I did say that I wanted to share Andrea's observations because, she's very much a part of this program, even though she's not able to make the live sessions. And she just said, "Hi, Karen, thank you for the asana. Her practice is going really well. She likes the way I structure the course. It's great to have breathing sussed out and now the asana to overlay. I found the chair challenging the first day, but sweet since. It's been really great to be able to observe the breath and the movements in such a focused way with specific asana. I've been doing a few limbering up breath connection swings, sways, and shakes prior to the asana. I particularly noticed the breath and the rest after resting after bow pose, which is nice and reassuring. I'm doing 3-part breath with connection to the floor. I can feel each part of the chest fill and empty, and it's made me realize I need to rebrand my own practice to include chest opening." Thank you, Andrea. Those observations were really helpful. And again, you can do the breathing practices in a supine, reclined position. They don't recommend doing pranayama lying down for extended periods of time, but I think initially, and that just has to do with this wanting the spine to be upright for that flow of prana. But you can do them supine to kind of get the hang of it, and then or if you're lying in bed, that sort of thing. But then also make sure that we're doing it upright as well. But thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate your participation in the program. Jot down your observations and keep me posted. And I will see you all next week. Thank you.